There's a reason you are in the place you are at. You are not supposed to have anyone else's destiny. Your destiny is entirely your own, and so is your timeline. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Have Breakfast. I'm your host, Jaden Liz. I've been thinking a lot recently about being an individual and what it means to be yourself. We talk about being ourselves a lot on this channel, on this platform, on this podcast. And what does it really mean to be yourself? With social media, I feel like there's so many different influences so quickly on like clothes, things to do, even like trends, like Gen Z slang is like actually AAVE. Things are adopted and evolved so quickly with social media to the extent where it's like you can lose yourself very easily. It can be challenging to recognize things that you actually like for yourself versus, is this a trend that I'm trying to place myself in? This show is really dedicated to evolving and growing in our 20s. And as I get older, the age bracket kind of inches back further and further. So this message really can be for anybody, but I think especially when we're in our 20s, it's hard to see everyone's lives around us happen, especially if you're in a position where you're feeling a little insecure about where you're at. New jobs, promotions, there's just so many things happening around us. And if we feel like we're in a position where we're not competing or at the same level as some of our peers or other people around us, it is so easy to compare yourself. I've been feeling like that a lot recently as a content creator because I have been doing this since 2021 and I'm like, I have no motion, which is not true. That's the inner monologue like talking to me. But compared to some of the people that started around the same time as me that I'm like mutuals with or see and make similar content to, like their stuff is popping off. And I'm like, well, why isn't mine? Like I'm working hard, I'm putting in extra hours, and it's like, it's so easy for me to sit there and be like, well, they're doing blah, blah, blah. Why can't I? And it's like, sweetie, calm down. Like, there's a reason you are in the place you are at. You are not supposed to have anyone else's destiny. Your destiny is entirely your own, and so is your timeline. When they say comparison is the thief of joy, like, genuinely, as cliche as you might think it sounds, it is so true. It can be this endless cycle of just consuming and seeing other people's lives and wanting yours to be like that, and then starting to develop even, like, envy and feel like, well, why do they get this? Why can't I have that? And then it's like this constant recurring mind game you're playing with yourself where it's like, take a minute and assess what it is that you are comparing yourself to. What's different about your situation versus theirs? Why do you feel like you deserve this? Really process where that's coming from so you can wipe your hands of that, because the more you compare yourself to others, you are starting to hinder your own growth and you're holding yourself back. And it's something we all struggle with. Like, I don't want to place this on any other successful queens. It's a basic human emotion. Like, everyone has a bit of comparing themselves to others. Some of it is healthy, some of it is not. When you are able to flip that comparison into inspiration and into motivation, that's when you really tap into bettering yourself. So instead of just like letting yourself get lost in comparison and upset at where you're at or what you haven't done or what you think you need to be doing, sit down and make a list of everything you do have. Everything, anything you are proud of having, whatever it is. It can be items, it can be opportunities, it can be people. Just really take a moment to show gratitude for the things that you do have, because you do have amazing things. You do have a great life, and you never know who's comparing themselves to you. You never know who's out there that thinks your life is perfect. So take all of that in and really process and think about what you do have and what you bring to the table and where you're at and what you can be proud of. Now, if you are really in the weeds with your comparison and you feel like every time you open Instagram, it's pissing you off and you don't feel like you see a way around this, take some time off social media. Better yet, unfollow accounts that you feel like you're constantly comparing yourself to. Or if you can't commit all the way to unfollowing people, mute them. Tune them out of your feed for a little bit so you don't feel like every single time you are trying to relax or trying to escape everyday life, you're hit with a wave of emotion because you feel like other people are doing better. Those people that you're comparing yourself to, like, just tune them out. And it feels easier said than done, but you really genuinely can tune them out. So do it. And that goes with like vision boarding and Pinterest too. I know, like, I am a vision board advocate. I believe you should make a vision board every month, every day, like any and every reason to make a vision board. I'm all about. I think in that same breath, it's really easy to get wrapped up in planning your dream life and like, oh, I want my life to look like this. I'm going to have all of these things. This is what I'm going to look like. I'm going to be in the best shape of my life. And it's like, you're not there yet. So what does your life look like right now? And I think if you spend so much time planning for the future and thinking about the future and not living in the present, you're going to start comparing yourself to the version that doesn't exist yet. And then you're starting to feel like you're behind and you're playing catch up. And it's like, you are in charge of the future you're creating. If you feel like a timeline that you wanted to set for yourself 2 years ago is no longer adding up, change it. If you feel like things are not working for you, change it. You are not stuck in this box of making everything work for your future. Figure out what's not working if you feel like something's not working and change it, because you're the boss. You're in charge. You can do what you want to make your life better. So instead of sulking if you mess something up at work or not hitting a milestone when you thought you did, you're not behind. You are not failing. You are none of those things. You have time. You will figure it out. But if you are constantly disappointed in yourself for things not happening when you thought they would, you're never going to be able to get yourself back up to do the thing and get yourself back on track and make things happen. So don't let disappointment or a timeline stunt your growth either. Also, think about what it is that you are comparing yourself to, whether it's someone's life, someone's looks, their car, whatever it is. Put into perspective why you want that thing, why you're comparing yourself to this. Is it attainable for you to have? And if it is attainable, let's find a plan to make sure you can get that too. All of it is possible. You just have to believe in yourself. And I think when we spend so much time comparing ourselves to others, we lose some of that faith in ourselves. And it's like, no, you're that bitch. You're that bitch. They're that bitch. Like, you can both have it. So instead of comparing yourself to that person, take some notes from them. See where you can make some areas of improvement in your life to make space for that thing. The person you're comparing yourself to, you can even reach out to. You don't have to get into the details of like, oh my God, I want your life. Like, you're so amazing. But you can get specific about questions you may have or wanting to know more about some of their experiences, because the grass is not always greener. So even people that are posting day in my life videos, like, don't compare your day to that. If that is not realistic for you, that's not your reality, and you can make a different reality. But the more you compare yourself to others, you are doing such a disservice to yourself and your life and what you're building, because you're not allowing yourself the opportunity to feel successful in what you're already doing. Like, your efforts are enough, you are doing enough, and every goal you set out to reach, you can attain. You just have to put the work behind it, and comparison will hinder your growth in that area. Let's take a more conscious effort not to compare ourselves to others and not take away that joy in our life, because we deserve nice things. We're going to have nice things. You are destined for great things, and you will achieve them in this lifetime. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Let's Have Breakfast. Please make sure, as they're talking about banning TikTok once again, if you are not already following me on all platforms, I am Jadyn Eliz on everything, JADYNELIZ. Some people say Elise, it is Eliz because my middle name is Elizabeth. The podcast is available on all streaming platforms and YouTube. You can also find us on Instagram at breakfast.pod. And I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.